and not just at 16, 17, or 18 just drop out and then become part of an entitlement class. So those are the type of things where it is not just national security, but it's our economic situation, our education situation. We've got to link those two together so we start growing our talent here, and we start putting the money back in the pockets of the American people, especially down here in this congressional district and all across the country, so that we can have economic growth.
Hey, thank you for your call. We got to take a break. You're listening to the Joyce Kaufman Show. I was supposed to be hosting a debate between the Republican primary candidates for CD22, but one of the candidates had to postpone until June 1st when the debate will take place at 2 o'clock. And for now, I'm talking to the other candidate, Lieutenant Colonel Allen West. That one's much better, armed with the truth. There was one the other day. It was like, what? All right, thank you very much. 877, I know I'm a little prima donna-ish, but he's got it better than me. Hey, Kevin's on the line, wants to talk to Colonel Allen West. Kevin from Fort Lauderdale, you're on the air with Colonel West. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Joyce, thanks for taking my call. Look, Joyce, I want to ask you, because I respect your walk with Christ, and I know there's no secret publicly, I want to ask you personally a question. But first of all, if I could ask Colonel Ward, challenge him on a statement he just made, and the general thrust of his approach to President Obama. First of all, as a black man, my initial all the sensations and the fascination and the joy that I felt in the first black president comes from an absolutely patriotic place, because it means that I've recognized that we finally walked out those terms like we hold these truths to be self-evident to be a reality. So that is very patriotic for a black person to embrace the first black president.
He's half white,
unpatriotic
Kevin.
about that.
He's half white. Do you think I only embrace white or Hispanic presidents, and that's patriotic?
There's no moral equivalence or intellectual equivalence there, Joyce.
When the first woman becomes a president, it'll be patriotic for me to only be thrilled that she's a woman?
You should have a special.
Why?
You should be specially. You're a woman. You should be special.
Kevin, if you get elected,
less than a pagan if he doesn't have a certain love for those of his own tribe or type. You should intellectually automatically love anything that's like you.
I don't like a tribal mentality, but go ahead, Colonel.
Okay, listen, economically, President Obama's approach is the same thing that we saw at the end of President Clinton's approach, where over, 4.5 million Americans were able to rise from below poverty to lower middle class. By the end of President Bush's Republican economic approach, those same 4.5 million.
President Bush was not a conservative. President Bush was not a conservative, so pick a different target. President Bush was not a conservative, so economically I don't agree with him. So stop trying to lump me in with Bush, okay? But if you look at the economic situations in places like Detroit, the failure of liberal social welfare policies in the inner city, that's what I'm talking about. Look at what's happening in Chicago with the murder rate. Now, also, if you look at California, when you have these people that call themselves Republicans, but they are neo-statists that believe just the same as a big spending liberal does, you get the exact same thing. So I'm talking about conservative principles and ideology. I'm talking about conservative economic principles. I'm not talking about George W. Bush. And I know that you can't get beyond it, but he's not the president anymore.
Well, but we're absolutely dealing
9.9% unemployment. 9.9% unemployment.
His administration put
9.9% unemployment. Quadruple of the debt. Quadruple of the debt. 9.9% unemployment.
Decisions that Bush administration made. How can you guys try and wash your hands
I'm not a you guys.
of the implications of the decisions that you...
Listen, Kevin, it's enough. I had this morning at breakfast. It is really... it really would be like a World War II soldier still fighting the Japanese 2 years after the war ended. But I appreciate your call. Oh, I'm sorry, Colonel West.
No,
they
it's
can't
okay.
help it. It's like a George Bush derangement syndrome.
No, but it's okay because people need to hear how delusional and deranged the other side is, and they will continue us down the path that leads us to Greece because they refuse to, like you said, to break away from the World War II mentality. They keep wanting to go back and stop looking at the failure of the policies we have right now. And let me tell you something. I know what I am as a person. I don't care about the color of the person that's the president. I want a good president. I want a president that's going to lead this country forward. And I'm not going to be a cheerleader. Obviously, Kevin is a cheerleader. I don't wear a skirt.
Hey, and listen, that's exactly right. And you have no idea. And let me remind people that in the end, the truth and right always win out. This year I won the Latina Pioneer Woman of the Year award. And I went up against a lot of people. And let me tell you, I am the only person who's going to receive an award like that who didn't support Sonia Sotomayor, who, by the way, is my tribe, a Puerto Rican New Yorker. If ever there was a moment where I was supposed to feel proud, I was dreadfully ashamed. She's an inadequate judge. She doesn't deserve to be a Supreme Court justice, in my opinion. So why would I take pride in that? That somehow her wisdom as a Latina was necessary for the Supreme Court? BS. Anyway, thank you, Colonel West.
Thank you for
I'll bring
having
you
me.
back when your primary opponent is going to be here, and everybody who's not registered in District 22 might want to think about it now.
Happy Mother's Day.